Everybody, welcome to Deep in Love Talk Show. It's another beautiful Wednesday here in Los Angeles, and we have an hour of pure positivity, and this is my favorite hour of the day. My Wednesdays have become my favorite hour, or favorite day of the week, for sure. Tonight, we have Anthony Rodriguez calling in from Jersey, and I see your big padded vest there.
Yes, it's kind of chilly, but it's okay. We're getting there. Supposedly there's
Nice.
supposed to be a snowstorm next week, but
Oh, already?
yeah, but it might be rumors. You know how it is on Facebook. It's people make,
Well,
let's see
welcome,
what
Anthony.
happens.
You are a musician and a motivational speaker and a published author.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mm.
Well, I'm going to give you the ground here. Go ahead and introduce yourself. We know you're from Jersey, but maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of hobbies. Let us get to know you.
Well, I'm a simple musician. From a young age, I always loved music, and from there I just continued on the passion. And as I got older, I ran into a situation where I had to make an important decision. um, what I was going to do with my life. And I little by little, I took my reputation as a musician, the town pianist, the church pianist, because I used to go to church, and I started to you know um, audition to different bands, and I I I, I joined a salsa band that at that time you were supposed to be upscale as a player. So um, my reading music wasn't all that great, and I just hustled my way to memorizing their music and faking, reading it so I could make it. But after that, I had to hustle my way to educating myself and getting educated, getting my mentor, which my mentor at that time played with Mark Anthony, and to this day he does, and he guided me through the steps of becoming more of a professional pianist and music producer. So leading to that, I built on my abilities, and I started to teach piano. I started to produce independent artists, leading to creating my own music. I have two independent Latin jazz records, and from there I just continued on forward, and there was a need to motivate people that are filled with talents, and and I had to just step in, and I started to motivate these groups, and that led to writing my very first book on The Musician, which is a motivational book, entrepreneur book. I use my life experience and my success stories to motivate the reader to actually do what they love, and no matter what, anything that we get into, it consists of hard work and never giving up, and I use my life story as a boost for the reader. So, and that's pretty much a brief description of me. You know,
Okay, so growing up, you knew you wanted to be a musician, right?
yeah, yeah.
At what point did you want to do motivational speaking? And what led you or caused you to get into that?
Looking at the needs of the youth. I ran into so many parents as I teach, because I also teach the piano as part of my business, and I would always hear my students say, I don't know what I want to do in my life. I like music, but I don't see myself doing it. And outside of that, I know so many people that are artists. They like to draw, they like to do this, they like to do that. But then they come and say, well, I got to pay these bills and all of that. And it came to a point where I wanted to be an influence to the people around me, the community. And I just started to, I sat down, and I practiced my life story. I practiced my success story. I wrote it down. I wrote like a steady speech that I can use. And I put together a nice, speech where I use that same speech at every place I go to speak at. And the good thing about it is that it's an authentic speech. I get to use my music abilities and turn it into a story, and make it a recipe for those that are listening to actually do what they love. And it's just the needs of the people. I guess I have that compassion and that passion to be a blessing to people. So I try to use my abilities to be that person, you know.
I love it. You
Hmm.
make it sound so easy how you just got started, and I know it's not. Um,
Hmm.
there's always action. There's always roadblocks. There's always
Yep.
downfalls or pitfalls. Tell me a little bit more about the journey into motivational speaking for you.
Um, well, I really don't know. That's the first time I was asked that question, because we usually go into the music part, but the journey into the motivational speaking. I first
Well,
off, I have a
I know. Okay, so you said you practiced your speech for hours,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
and I know you can't just make a speech and then go out speaking publicly. So I know that there's a lot of you had to make a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails, trying to get yourself into the door to be able to speak, which
yeah,
also means a lot of no's and a lot of closed doors.
yeah.
So I could only imagine
Well,
those.
books, reading How to Succeed in Life books, self-help books, and we also have the YouTube. So I looked up different, different people that I usually look up to, like Donald Trump. He also speaks, and
Mhm.
Tony Robbins, and I mean they have their, I mean they are so upscale that for me I had to like take little bits of elements of their style and incorporate to me, because I am at a total different level than they are. They're I mean their speeches are finances and
Right.
secrets to becoming a millionaire and all that good stuff. But what I did was I just took that same spirit and I just applied it to my story, and so that makes it an impactful speech for the listener to receive, and with that same style, I can execute something strong and solid. You know what I
Gotcha.
mean? Yeah.
So,
So
what is the topic or the core of the motivation that you do? Is it life coaching? Is it following the passion? Is it money? Is it purely music related? What's like the core or the topic of your motivational niche?
my story leads. It starts from the beginning, right? It starts from the beginning, telling the audience that my passion I discovered at a young age, and I built a timeline from there to where I ran into weaknesses. As like I said before, I wanted to join the salsa band, and in order for me to join it, you had to read music, and I couldn't join it being in a realistic realm, because realistically I shouldn't have never made that band. But I was innovative enough to take the CD, lock myself in the room, and memorize their music, and also look at their sheet music and memorize it visually. So when I went to audition, it seemed like it seemed like I was a Mozart, and they loved me, and I made the band. But after that, I ran into a roadblock, a hurdle, where I had to improve my skills in order to continue on. I couldn't continue on doing the way I entered was just to enter, but I had to like boost myself up with my skills and do more, because as a piano player you have to do a lot of work, and I was already playing with professionals, so I had to like hurry up and catch up. So that was just one of the ways that I start the speech. That's one of the ways, and it lets the student know, what, it's not easy, but you got to find a way to get to what you want. And if you don't have a lot to work with, you got to work with the little that you have and continue working with it, because life will grant you much more. But you have to work with the little that you had, So at that moment, I had very little skills, but I made it happen. And then from there, I just hanging out with these guys, with these monster musicians, I was able to improve, and also with my mentors, and I grew musically, and I've gotten better. As I got older, I was introduced to new musicians, and it just goes into my speech goes into a higher level now. That I was able to experience different things. And I always tell the audience that life is like a train ride. You never reach your destination, because you're constantly getting off different stops. And you can be in your train ride, and you can look at you can look 1 mile away and something could attract you, and you're gonna want to get off there and see what it is, you know. And sometimes we get off at a stop where it's a bad experience, you know, and we jump right back in the train. We go forward and a different stop, and that particular spot can be a success, you know, a success experience, a successful experience, you know. And that's the analogy that I use, so that these guys can understand that, you know what, it's hard. You know, it's hard to do whatever it is that you're gonna do. Whether you do what you love or you don't, it's extremely hard. And then towards the end, you know, um, I let them know, hey, I started as a kid loving music, and today, you know, I have my own music company. I produce the music, I teach music, and my passion always stood the same. No matter what, no matter if there was a roadblock, no matter if somebody pushed me to the side and I had to get myself back on track, you know, I always stood the course, never gave up, which is one of the most important things, to never give up and just, you know, fight through it, you know. It's easy to fight. It's easy to break through when you love it. It's not
Mhm.
easy when you don't love it, you know. And that's where I want to let people know that, you know, if you have the option to do what you love, start now. And they're young, you know, they're at a young age where they can start now. And
Yeah.
you know, so it's pretty much motivation to do what they love. And if their potential is still sleeping, hopefully my speech was a key to awaken their hidden potential, and they took advantage of that moment, you know. So motivational to the fullest, you know, my speech would be motivational.
Do you, I saw a couple of your videos. Do you play music in your
Yeah.
speeches? Do you actually play?
Well, you know, after the speeches, the students, they urge me, they demand for me to play that piano, you know. And luckily there's a piano in the auditorium, and I just, you know, I walk up to the piano and I do a few licks, a few phrases there, and they start clapping, and you know, and that's good because they can see the proof, they can
Right,
see
right,
the, you know,
right.
they can see the end result. And it's something, it's a good feeling when they all applaud, you know, because they have a speech and then they have an action, you know. I can show them that this is real.
Right.
Yeah.
So what gives you the credibility to be a motivational speaker? What are your, what would you give yourself or describe yourself for that? As in, is it your pure passion for it?
I mean, the passion for it, the passion,
For
knowing that,
instance, so I'm a suicide intervention coach.
yeah.
I have my training in that, and I very much promote myself. And a lot of people always ask me, "Well, what's your credibility? Why do you do this? What makes you? Why would I call you over someone else?" And so I always say, "I've been there. It's a place of pain. I have felt that, and I've also found my smile." And so mine, it's a personal story. It's one of compassion, of empathy. I understand. So let me guide you. Let me show you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the same way. I think experience is the best thing, and
Yeah.
when you speak it, it's naturally coming out. You know, when you speak
Right.
with somebody that's just about the textbooks, somebody
Right.
that can probably have gone to school for 11, 12 years, um, you know, earning a certificate on something that can help somebody. I mean, I think that person with the certificate doesn't have much to offer more than the other person that did go through it and
Right.
has become a success story. So I think that when I speak with potential clients and with nonprofits, you know, I think that when I speak, you know, it's like a automatic hit. You know, it's they we connect, we click, and you know, it's nothing that I have to try to fight for hard. You know, I think that I have a lot of speakers. You know, in my category at least, you know, with the motivation, with speaking to students, you know, with entrepreneurs, you know. The hard work speech is the best speech, you know.
Mhm.
A lot of people like to talk about the good stuff, but they don't like to talk about the bad stuff, you know. And it's easy to do that, you know. It's
Yeah.
easy. Stick to your script and do what everybody else does. but you got to be that 1% that separates you, what separates you from the 99 percenters. And
Right.
you have to just talk about the topics that they really need to hear. So when you talk about hard work, when you talk about, you're sweating blood, working hard every day, and that's how you have to do it in order to get to where you need to be. And Mark Cuban says it best. There's always somebody out there planning to kick your butt, you know. And if you sleep on it, you're gonna get your butt kicked, And that's one of the things that I always live by. When you wake up every morning, you have to, imagine yourself in the ring, or somebody out there on the other side of the block trying to do better than you. And and that's what people need to hear. They got to hear that. They got to be motivated that way by
Right.
speaking about the hard stuff. So
Right.
I think
So
that's my experience, my personal experience.
yeah.
It does give me the credibility that I need. And
Nice.
it's and action speaks for itself.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You have a little girl. I saw on your Instagram. Does she play music?
Well, I'm trying to get her to play the music. I brought her a little piano, and it came with a music book, but for some reason she thought the music book was a toy. So little by little she started ripping the pages little by little. So um, I have to go and buy a new book for her. So we could continue doing our music time. So right now I'm trying to get her incorporated with the piano. I'm trying to get her to recognize the sounds. So that
Nice.
way when she gets older she can, begin doing that as an activity and see what happens in the future.
That's really cool. Well, our
Yeah.
time just sped by amazingly fast.
Wow.
Give us the name of your book again, and then maybe some social media links where we can find you.
Okay, the book is titled The Musician, and the subtitle is Establishing Your Natural Ability as a Lifestyle. And you can get it on Amazon. You can read the reviews and also read a sample of the book. It's a great book. It's helped a lot of people. And for Facebook, you can go to Anthony Rodriguez online. That's Facebook, obviously.com/Anthony Rodriguez online. And on Twitter, you can look for I am Ant Rodriguez. That's IAMANTRODRIGUEZ. And
Got
my
it.
and my official site is AnthonyRodriguezOnline.com.
Okay, perfect. My favorite question to ask everybody is, do you have a quote you live by or a mantra that you say often that you'd be willing to share with us?
I have a few, but one of the things that I use all the time is the simplest thing. When you do what you love, everything else follows.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
It's very true. It's very true. Once you get on course for you on your path, and everything else just seems to kind of fall into place for you, right along with you.
Yeah. And again, it's not easy though, but it's something that you have to be persistent with, and eventually, when you do it the right way. I think I want to end with this, if it's okay. What people fail to understand sometimes. Um, in life, when you want to reach your goal, it's possible, but at times you might have to change the method of reaching that goal. A lot of people confuse that and say, I'm not meant to do this, I can't do this, and they give up. You know, by changing your method, you're not giving up. You're just changing the way you're trying to reach your goal. So that's part of doing what you love. Change your strategy and reach your goal, and never give up. If you have to change it again, change it again, because anything is possible. You just have to do it the right way, or find the key to get to that goal.
Absolutely. I love it. Well, Anthony, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Um, I wish you all the best success in the world.
You too. I wish you success, and continue doing what you do with the speeches and all the awesome videos with motivating those people that are, sad and emotionally distressed. I seen some of your stuff. Continue on forward with that too.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Have a good evening, Anthony. Thank you.
You too. Thank you.